Sadhguru, it's an absolute honor and a pleasure that I'm sitting next to you and supporting the cause of Rally for River. Sadhguru, scientists have gone to Mars and they've discovered water. We've invented smartphone, yet nobody has realized the importance and how grave the situation is that our rivers are getting endangered. Something which is so core to existence. How come scientists have ignored it for so long?
Scientists have not ignored, they've been crying hoarse. Nobody heard because they don't have a platform that's high enough to shout loud enough for everybody to hear. So in a way, that is a role that I'm trying to fulfill for them. They've been shouting for a long time, but nobody heard. So we are shouting in such a way that people will hear, that's why you're here, so that we can shout louder, that everybody must hear that there is something wrong and we need to act. If we don't act responsibly now, it could be too late.
If we don't act now, what could happen?
See, if we act now, action will take 10 to 15 years or 20 years to fulfill. If we do this, in the next 20 to 25 years, you would see 15 to 20% increase in the river flows. If we don't act now, let's say we don't do anything, and we act after 15 or 20 years later, then it would take 100 to 150 years to turn back. If you want a grave picture, you just have to go back. The problem with India is, we have a way of forgetting our historical experiences. Before 1947, we're just 70 years now, before 1947, every second, third year, there used to be a famine. What kind of numbers do you think were the deaths? Dozens? Hundreds? What do you think? Thousands? No, millions. We died in millions. Only last 65 years, 60 years, we've had a break from a famine. We've not had a famine. In this there are many factors. There is technology, there is government initiatives, the green revolution, all these things happened. But we've just forgotten of just a generation ago, people were dying in millions in this country every other year. We are trying to again drive ourselves into that pit. We may not go back to that state because today world is connected, we can get food from elsewhere. We may never go back to the pre-1947 years of famines of that scale, but similar troubles will come to us because we're driving ourselves into a pit. First of all, our ability to grow food in this land is very significant because this is one culture which has maximum experience of agriculture on the planet. Because we've been farming this land for somewhere between 8 to 12,000 years ago we started farming. When nowhere else on the planet they did not know what is farming, we were farming. So there is a huge experience. This has unfortunately been discounted. See, today, I was telling all the hotshot CEOs who come to us, I said, I will give you 10 acres of very fertile land. You grow me 5 different types of crops and give it to me with all your education. Many of them are Harvard, this, that, everything, okay? You cannot do it, believe me. That illiterate farmer does it because this knowledge is almost like his DNA. It's become part of his genetics, it's become that way. This dimension of knowledge, if you want to recreate in a culture, it will take hundreds of years. So right now it is there, but we are pushing the farmer to such a point. Today you ask any farmer, do you want your children to go into farming? Believe me, not even 15% of the farmers will say, yes, I want my children to go into farming. All others will say they want a job in city, they want to go to America, they want to do something else. We have made his life so bitter, we think it's because of only market prices, this and that. Yes, those things are definitely there. But the most important thing is the depletion of soil and water resource. Serious depletion of soil and water resource. No matter what you do, you can't grow enough. When you grow, there is no market. This dislocation has happened. It is not that we don't know what to do. As you said, why nobody said? No, that's not the truth. People have been saying, but their scientific and academic voices, they have been saying and nobody heard. Nobody has the time to hear, because last 65 years we've been struggling to just manage our survival with 1 billion people. including the administration, I'm saying this is not to blame anybody. Unfortunately, we've been too busy just managing our survival. If you talk about anything about ecology, people say man versus monkey. They don't understand that every other creature is as important to you and me, not for spiritual reasons, for your survival process itself. If the bioactivity in the soil is destroyed, your food ability to produce food is gone. And that's happening in a very big way. So we need a policy which will be scientific in nature, at the same time it is economic in nature. This policy draft we are making is an economic policy with a significant ecological impact.
But Sadhguru, the proposal or the plan which you are proposing involves a lot of state and center coordination. The farmers will have to radically change the way they have been cultivating crops in the past.
No, they don't have to change anything radically. Yes, it needs the cooperation of center and state. That is the reason why I'm personally driving from Kanyakumari to Himalayas. A lot of people think drive means I will sit in a bus and go. No, I am personally driving every kilometer of the stretch. Why this is being done is because this is a concurrent issue between the center and the state. Without the cooperation of the states, the center cannot do much, because center can only give an overarching advisory policy, states have to implement it. And they will have their own issues with the farmers and various other stakeholders. You don't have to do any radical change, you just have to look back how your grandfather was farming. If you do it that way, rivers will flow. Because every farmer, a few decades ago, let's say 100 years ago, every farmer in this country knew that if he has to have a productive land, he must have this many trees, this many animals, because organic content has to go back into the land. When I say organic content, the international standards to call soil as soil is minimum 2% organic content should be there. In many states like Punjab, Haryana, Marathwada, some parts of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, it's come to a place where the organic content is 0.05%, not 0.5, 0.05%. This means this soil has only approximately 3 to 5 years' time before it turns into sand. That means desertification is happening at that pace. All studies show that in the next 25 years, at least 25 to 40% of the land will become a desert. In 40 years' time, they're saying 60% of India's agricultural land will not be cultivable no matter what kind of fertilizers you throw. Already this is being experienced by people. This is a simple thing. If you grow, let's say, 1 ton of crop from this particular land, let's say 1 acre of land, 1 ton of topsoil you removed, how will you put it back? The only way you can put it back is the leaves of the trees and the animal waste. Trees are already gone long time ago, animals are all going. How will you replenish it? You will turn the land into a desert. This has to be reversed. This cannot be reversed by people's just their own whims and fancies. There must be a policy how to do it. So this is a very elaborate policy to see how the integrity and the fertility of our soil and our water resources are brought back. Because with this much population, with over 1.3 billion people on your hand, if you lose your ability to grow food in this land, you can't imagine what will happen.
So, Sadhguru, you've championed many campaigns in the past. Can I safely assume and say that this is the biggest campaign you would be championing?
Not really. In this ecological sphere, yes, maybe. But otherwise, our campaign to change the inner ecology of the human being is on for 35 years. And that's the largest campaign, it'll always remain the largest campaign for me.
Sadhguru, if I look back and what I have, whenever I track the history of Isha Foundation, it has managed to grow in leap and bounds. Isha Yoga, your outreach programs, they are touching millions. I've attended some of your programs and personally benefited, so I will always be grateful to you for that. But what I want to understand from you is that what started as a thought has now changed millions of lives. How have you managed to achieve it? What is the economics behind it? Because you don't have any special grants, you don't get any special subsidies. What is the secret sauce here? We represent a business channel and everything has to be related with economics here for us.
I'm on national television, but let me admit this. At Isha, we are just a bunch of idiots doing incredible things. This is the power of consciousness. This is what human consciousness can do. You don't need this bigger brain to do this. You don't need so much knowledge to do it. You don't need so many qualifications to do it. This is the power of human consciousness because this is the basis of life. If you get connected with this, doing things is effortless. None of us are having blood pressure or diabetes doing this stuff because there is no such thing as stress. Maybe physically we are a little overworked but you will never find us stressed by what we are doing because this is what it means to function from your consciousness, not just from your intellect.
But Sadhguru, as managers, we find sometimes difficult to motivate a small team. When I meet your volunteers, they're always warm, there's a smile on their face, they're working 365 days in a year. I've interacted with some of your volunteers and it's a very blissful experience. How do you motivate them? Because motivation is a problem for a lot of managers in India and globally.
It's very simple. It's 100% clear to all of them that everything that I do is towards their well-being. So they're all fired up. If I was doing it for my well-being, I don't think they would be fired up
Sadhguru, if I look at the global construct and global construct of wealth, global construct of how wealth has moved in last couple of years, 1% of the population in the world, Sadhguru, currently controls 80% of the total wealth. Huge disparity. Are we staring at a time bomb when it comes to this kind of inequality?
We must first of all understand the material on the planet has not changed, even with water. This is what people are asking me, I'm telling them. See, the amount of water on the planet has not become less. It's just not coming to you, that's all. It's not left the atmosphere and gone somewhere, it's within the atmosphere somewhere. Just that it is not coming to you. So you just have to see what is it that you're doing wrong, isn't it? Now, we created an economic module where it's driven by certain forces. And if you don't have to be brilliant to do this, you just have to be shrewd enough to understand a few mechanics of how it works. But we must understand that money is only a transactional mode, it's not a commodity by itself. I think that is what was brought home with demonetization in many ways, that it's not a commodity you stock up in your warehouse, it's just a transactional mode. And the integrity of any economic structure is only when everybody is benefiting. Otherwise, someday it'll flip over. And that flip over may be very ugly. It'll not happen well, it'll happen in the ugliest possible way. And that flip over may not be a solution. All possibilities may get destroyed. Many revolutions in the world have destroyed everything. So it's very important that in a society, we make sure that every segment of the society is doing at least reasonably well, at least the fundamentals are being taken care of. If you don't take care of it, definitely there will be some kind of disruption at some point.
So, Sadhguru, do you think that India right now is in some kind of an enviable position? Globally, there are economic challenges, social challenges. For India, now there is a powerful administrator. The system, at least at the top, is getting less corrupt. And the growth also, in terms of the economic growth, is much higher and greater than the world.
People envy you for just about anything, that's a problem That's another problem. But India has many complexities, many issues. A resolute leadership is a boon that way because this is what is needed. We have been in a pit for too long. When you want to get out of the pit, you must be in a special gear, otherwise you can't come out. That special gear is painful. All of us should be willing to go through that little pain if we want the nation to come out of that pit. I think we are oriented in the right direction. I think the right amount of pressure is being exerted in many ways. I would like little more pressure but it's a democratic country. governments come with 5-year lifespans. So probably it's a calibrated pressure that they're applying. Personally, I would like much more pressure. You must put much more pressure on everybody so that we work ourselves out of the pit. Because if you stay in the pit without enormous acceleration, you can't come out of it. Once you come out onto plain land, maybe it's much easier, then things will go in a different way. So fundamental parameter for this is, at least all Indians should be reasonably well nourished. This must happen. Unfortunately, that's not happening. We're definitely moving in this direction. Is it fast enough? Nothing is fast enough for me, because the child who is hungry today, what is fast enough for him? What is fast enough is, he must get his dinner today, if not the lunch. That's what is fast enough for me. So, we are moving in the right direction. I would like much more speed, but there are practical difficulties, obviously.
Now, Sadhguru, you've already expressed your thoughts on demonetization. Let's talk about India post-demonetization, the war against black money. You travel the length and the breadth of the country. Do you think that somewhere the social fabric of the country now is changing because of measures like demonetization, war against black money? If they start getting trickled down into the society at a basic level, we could be staring at a different India in 4-5 years.
Very much. It is not a consequence which is by default, by design, we are trying to move there, and that's how it should be. If you want to have a major economy, if you want to become a major economy on the planet, then the fundamentals must be clean. If you have full of holes, how do you do it? So, I have a much more drastic plan, but it's a democratic government, they have to go with the people.
So, what could be that plan? What
You're
is that
getting
plan?
me into trouble. See, first thing is, as a nation, every Indian must feel proud of being Indian. And they must know they're Indian. A whole lot of people don't know where they belong. They're just attached to their caste, creed, religion, this, that. They can do those things, but fundamental identity with the with the nation has to happen. If this has to happen, you will not like it. I'm saying every citizen must pay at least 1% tax. Even if I am earning 10 rupees, I must pay 1 rupee tax. 1%, 1 paisa tax, I'm saying. Why this 1% is, it doesn't matter, we will leave it, if your income is below whatever the minimum thing, we will leave it to your own device, whatever you declare. But 1% of what you declare you must pay. Because you must have a sense of, I contribute to the nation, in turn nation is doing roads and this and that. People have not understood this. A whole lot of people do not know that right now the road that they're driving on, or any of the government property that is there, the public property that is there, belongs to me, I have paid for this in some way. This feeling is not there in the Indian people, large segment of Indian people. If we have to bring that, they have to pay 1% according to your declaration. Up to, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, or whatever the income, what is it, 3 lakhs they pay, is it tax now? Below 3 lakh rupees, 1% tax everybody must pay, just to feel that this nation is being made by me, I am paying for it, all the things that happen. Next time, before I burn the bus,
I paid for the bus.
When I see the buses burning, what is the idea? Because you don't understand you paid for it. You don't understand if you burn the bus tomorrow you may have to cycle or walk. So this has to come means everybody must pay 1% tax. How much money it gets to the government, it doesn't matter, but everybody even a beggar must pay 1% tax. If you want to live in this country, 1% tax you must pay, after that income slabs you can create. And I'm also saying, if let's say somebody earns 100 crores and he's paying 30% tax, if he earns 500 crores, you must make it 25%. If he earns 1,000 crores, you must make it 20%. Why I'm saying this is, there must be an incentive for me to declare larger and larger income, otherwise they're putting it not overseas, underseas, they're putting it and taking it somewhere.
Sure.
They'll find a way. They'll find, once they make lot of money and they know they're paying enormous tax, they will find different ways. We must create situations, already there are, but I'm saying it must be very overt, clearly overt. If you declare large income, you will get rebates. Where now only less income is rebates, that means if I earn less, it's a good thing.
Yes.
No, if you earn more, it's a good thing for the country. This must become obvious. Above all, Indian people need to understand, we have moved away from socialism not because it's a bad thing, it didn't work. We couldn't make it work. We didn't have the gumption to make a socialist society as such. So we moved into a commercial or market in a society. Every day you don't take a backward step. You must understand once you moved into market economy that people who make money are good for us. The success of this nation does not depend on just political success or even military exploits, it depends on the successes of the businesses that we run here. This must be clearly put across. More money you make, better it is for the country.
What is important for any society is also jobs. Globally, what is dangerous and what is dull is now being taken over by machine. Machine is eating into a lot of jobs. What could be the future like? Population is growing, jobs are less and machine is eating into
You will have a
jobs.
lot of vacation. A robo could ask all the questions you're asking, I am the problem, okay? Your job will be taken. See, technology and machines coming into work is not a threat for us. It means we can move into that unique space which only a human being can fulfill. That's what we are supposed to do. So right now we are doing what a mechanical a mechanical arrangement can do, we are unnecessarily doing it. Isn't it great if machines do all the menial jobs and we can move into a higher level of function? We should stop this old way of thinking that if machines come, my job will go. Isn't it a good thing you don't have a job? If you don't have a job and you have time and you're well-fed and you have the time, your brains will work to create something new. That's what a human being should do, isn't it? We think if the jobs go away, something will happen. No. If machines do all the jobs, there will be productivity, there will be food, there will be everything. So you have it without working. This means what? Your entire energy is free to do something truly wonderful. This is when human genius will flower. I look forward to that day.
Sadhguru, you've always guided millions of people on how they should start their day, spend their day. I've always wondered that what is a day like in your life?
Oh, my day is… if I'm if I put my head on the same pillow twice, it's a luxury. So I can't decide what my day is.
So what is a good day for you and what is a bad day for you?
I didn't see any day as a bad day.
All of us have good and bad days.
I don't have, I just have days.
So Sadhguru, all of us are looking for actionable ideas. What would you say are Sadhguru's 5 rules for happy life?
Save the rivers right now.
And how can all of us really participate in this mega campaign?
On 1st September, we are having thousands of people come out on the streets of cities and towns across India with just this simple Rally for River board, blue patch. It's downloadable, you download your own thing and print it in whichever way, you put it on your jacket or you hold a board or you wear a cap, do whatever, especially the youth and everybody else. In some way or you wear just a small badge, just demonstrate to the administration that India is with you when you take long-term policy stands. We are willing to go through the pain for a sustainable India.
Sadhguru,
Make the statement in whatever way you can.
And as a channel, I can assure you that we are all in support for this cause. It's been a privilege and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.